Yeah, I know. This was supposed to be your wish debunk video. You talked about it months ago. And yes, that was going to be the plan. But earlier last month, the internet was stricken with some unfortunate news. See, last month, everyone's favorite gotta love/hate him theorist, MatPat, announced his retirement, and all his theory channels will now continue under new hosts. And while we've all taken a crack at MatPat the theorist on this channel, MatPat the person will sorely be missed on this platform.
Oh, Captain, my Captain! You will be missed.
So, after talking to my business consultants, to which I have zero of, I decided to do my own little tribute to the Music Man and loving theorist himself, which means that wish debunk I promised before will now be moved to next month. As to what that tribute is, well, I was going to do another game theory debunk, but with the jokes toned down, but that turned out to be way harder than I first thought. But then it hit me, I don't have to tone down the jokes. Don't get me wrong, a lot of the other send-outs have been really great and sweet, but here at Kingfish, we're not afraid to kick you in the berries and have a laugh while doing it. Which is why I am proud to present the first and quite possibly only roast of Mathew, where we count down 10 of the biggest F-ups, mess-ups, and blunders throughout his long and illustrious YouTube career. Number 10.
Today I'm covering a new franchise. Well, at least a new franchise for game theory.
An oldie but a goodie. For those of you who don't know, back when I was trying to cram multiple debunks into one video, I mentioned MatPat's Persona 4 theory, in which lovable mascot Teddy was actually the secret lost shadow to our main protagonist. Oh, and you best believe MatPat looked over everything he needed to know about that game. He even researched tarot cards to help his theory. You know what else would have helped his theory? Playing the damn game. Yes, as I mentioned before on this channel, the final boss Izanami didn't give out Persona, she just gave you the ability to summon his own. And that wasn't the only time MatPat was caught red-handed in that video of lies.
That is the whole point of this game, coming to terms with the parts of you that you don't want to acknowledge. Velvet Room. During our first visit to this shagadelic ride, we learned that it's a place that's only accessible to those who've received a special invitation.
It is a room that only those who are bound by a contract may enter.
Which leads to perhaps the biggest question about today's episode. Not so much what happened to Yu's shadow in Persona 4, but why the did I choose to do this episode?
I don't know, you're kind of known for pissing off entire fandoms. Number 9. Speaking of pissing off entire fandoms, let's discuss the one and only time MatPat tried tackling One Piece. Apparently he thought the world of One Piece couldn't work, because you know, nothing can stay fiction anymore, and claims the massive amounts of ocean water around the world would mean less resources for everyone. And like all people who try to cram reality into fiction, he left some important stuff out. So, first things first, say it with me now. Fish are resources and food. So farming for resources wouldn't be much of an issue because fishing would be much more favorable. Not to mention, less land means less people to share that lack of water with, so I say it balances out. Number 8.
There is plenty of things not to love about living in New York, but one thing that cannot be denied is that New York has incredible pizza. I've lived on the East Coast, the West Coast, in the North, in the South, and nowhere in the US compares.
You know, gotta be honest, this one always did make my mouth water. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, this was the episode where MatPat tried to prove that New York's pizza was the best because of all the added stuff in the water that winds up getting made into their pizza dough. Great hypothesis, but they tried proving it with New Jersey's water instead. Despite the fact that unlike New York, New Jersey gets its water from various local sources and can depend on which part of the state you're living in.
Are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Number 7.
Haha, we did it, you guys!
Okay, so in this flop, you know what? Just watch.
There's a much better theory that unifies the Rogue One squadron into the main Star Wars narrative by connecting them with another group, the Knights of Ren. No kid is gonna buy the action figure of a Resistance pilot who gets killed after 15 minutes of screen time.
That one didn't age quite so well.
Number 6. He tried to blur the line between a drink and a soup. I'm sorry, I have no jokes here. The weirdness speaks for itself. I don't care how important you make it sound. But now get ready. As for these next 5 moments, we're gonna take you way back. Number 5.
Today, natural knockers versus falsified fun bags.
I know. I heard it too. Here's some music.
Ivy Valentine, Laura Croft, and Mai Shiranui. Truly, they carry around the grandest of Tetons in gaming.
Seriously, who wrote this episode? Jeff Spankenberg?
Their Titanic.
Okay, stop. Just stop, alright? We get the joke. We know how dumb this is. Can we please move on to something that's less controversial? Number 4.
But is there anything this bizarre scenario can teach us about the world of cross-dressing?
That's it. I'm out of here. Number 3.
So would it surprise you then to hear that behind these yellow locks is a ticking time bomb of hormones and the mastermind behind Bowser's nefarious schemes?
You know, don't blame the victim doesn't really need to be a saying, but if we're making theories like these, it kinda has to be.
As we begin to peel this peach, I submit that Mario's gal pal here is a clear candidate for bipolar disorder, a psychological issue marked by periods of extreme mood shifts, manic highs, and depressive lows. In Super Princess Peach, however, she's the main protagonist. She attacks with rapid mood swings. Get her mad? She literally catches on fire. Happy? She twirls and flies. Sad, and she cries uncontrollable bitter tears. Way to go, Nintendo. You make the girl a hero and you give her the power of PMS.
Okay, first off, she was on Vibe Island. The whole point of that place is to get emotional. Secondly, I can't see how you can call Nintendo sexist, considering you're just making casual jabs on a woman's emotional state, not to mention her sleepy sheepies. Number 2.
Move over, Walter White. There's a new anti-hero in town, and his name is Mario Jumpman Mario.
See, my fellow Sonic fans, MatPat's not biased. He tried to ruin Mario's reputation just as many times. Oh wait, that's still bad, isn't it?
Super Mario? More like super villain, because behind those plump cheeks, that bulbous nose, and that 80s porn star mustache is a truly evil man.
When are you gonna give up on this theory, MatPat? The Mario movie made him the Captain America of video games, the guy who can do this all day. And yet you still insist on dying on this hill. Why did you make ruining your childhood your show's slogan? What good does that do anyone, especially when you're constantly wrong? This isn't even part of the roast anymore, just who da- And now, finally, ladies and gentlemen, at number 1, we have...
Vsauce 3 recently took a gander at a game series I covered in episode 5, The Science of Sonic.
Look at it. Look how beautiful it is. It's just so easy. It's just so easy.
They looked at how running faster than the speed of sound would affect Sonic's body. It's a great video, except for one thing. It's wrong.
Leave the debunking to the professionals, please. In this infamously bad theory, MatPat tries, and fails, to convince the Sonic community that his speed is nothing more than a lie. The biggest example of this was when he tried to compare Sonic's first level with Mario's first level. But do you notice anything different between these two level designs? One is much curvier with a lot of loops, and the other is a straight mad dash to the finish with the occasional jumps, making whatever data you collected through measurements completely null and void. And that, folks, concludes our roast. Thank you for joining me for this off-color tribute, and I'll see you next month. Theory debunked.